Have you ever wondered what sets the self-empowered apart? How do they seem to glide through life with confidence, even when being faced with challenges? Well, one thing, it's not luck, it's actually mindset. So in today's video, I'm breaking down the 6 key qualities of the self-empowered. And trust me, by the end, you'll have some new ways to connect with your own power too. Welcome to the channel. We talk about the changing face of happiness and how to uncover your inner reservoirs of emotional resilience, which are there, and also how to navigate through the twists and turns of life to uncover your strength and your joy. Let's jump in. Number one, the self-empowered respect their time, their health, and their energy. And this is so much more than time management. Think about this. How do you take care of your health? So we're talking, of course, about nutrition because that correlates to mental health more than we know. We're also talking about movement, exercise, and all that stuff. And sleep, of course, to clean the brain of stress so we can start the new day fresh. Also, how do you relate to the people closest to you, your connections in life? That's your family, your friendships, your closest intimate relationships. This is all a part of it. So it makes sense to think about it and how you actually navigate through. Here's something I want you to try. It is called an energy audit. So what that is kind of making a list of all the people in your life, and in a column beside that, tick off, do they give me energy or do they deplete my energy? And once you have that in front of you, front and center, you can make a choice like, do I want to spend more time with this person or do I want to kind of taper it off with this other person? And that gives you the sense of possibility and also control about keeping your energy raised, which is very important. And you can actually make those choices. It's also about kind of curating in your own mind what really matters to you, and then surrounding yourself with people that support that rather than sabotage, right? And this involves one thing, which is saying no, setting boundaries. And I know that can be tricky at the beginning because maybe you don't want to let people down. But the thing is, um, see through the interactions. If they are using guilt, see it as guilt. You don't have to buy into that game. The point is um, to shape your time, your energy, and your health through the people that you are surrounding yourself with. And, this is entirely doable. It's about making thoughtful choices that align with your well-being, your goals, your dreams, and most importantly, what's in your heart. Number two, self-empowered people listen to their own intuition. So I try and make the best choices according to what I'm feeling about a person, about a situation. And I love and prefer to see the best in people. However, if something is giving me a red flag or a funny feeling that, I don't know if this situation feels off, it just feels off, and I'm not sure that this person is in their integrity. Hmm, I'm going to step back a bit and kind of consider it. Especially, you can get that gut feeling. That's why they call it a gut feeling. There's a feeling in your gut, in your body, that something is not right. And I know for myself, when I've bypassed that or not listened to it or discounted it, that's when problems happen. I don't know if it's the same for you. So I encourage you to pay attention to your own intuition and actually give it the respect that it deserves. Self-empowered people never regret listening to themselves. Even if a situation turns out not quite as planned, and maybe there's some disappointment or whatever, it doesn't mean your intuition is off. It means that the situation is happening so that you can learn something, so that you can um, find the lesson in that, and that will help you later in your life because we all know that the stakes are always higher. So, self-empowered people always consider what others have to say, but they know that the final decision is up to them. And if there's a situation where they're not being treated well or disregarded or not respected, and they give, various options or scenarios to get into greater communication, if that is not happening, then they don't just stay in there and feel that they have to, you know, stick it out. No, they will take a different tactic. They may walk away, and in a situation like this, it is always important to have a support system, no matter what. That could be, a friend, it could be family members, it could be a health professional, whatever. But we all need support in times like that. And so we can listen and act on our intuition. Number three, self-empowered people are aware and self-accepting. So whether they've had a few trips around the sun and they know themselves quite well, or they are an old soul, and that could come at any age. They have a knowledge and an acceptance that they are resilient. They have bounced back from challenging situations. They have dealt with stuff in life and come out stronger or wiser or, with a new perspective. And this is important to acknowledge in terms of being self-empowered. At a certain point, you know what you know, and no one can tell you otherwise. You kind of know it in your bones. Not only do you know it, but you also can figure out what to do if you don't know it. If you know that this is a brand new situation that you've never dealt with before, they have the sense that, okay, I'll figure it out. I will find a way. So now I want to ask you, do you realize how resilient you actually are? So here's something I want you to try. And trust me, this is really hard for so many people because we are not used to thinking this way. Grab that piece of paper, new page, and write down some of the things, doesn't have to be many, that you actually like about yourself. We're so used to, you know, giving our support to other people, but what do you like? What do you appreciate about yourself? And also, if you can, put the situation where that has shown up for you. And this is not about your achievements or your looks or all the other external stuff, your education, whatever it might be. No, this is not about that. This is about core qualities within yourself that you appreciate. So it could be anything from being a good listener to being, full of zest for life, willing to try new things. Or it could be that caring quality where you open your heart to other people and they tell you their life story in just the drop of a hat. Or it could be that you have the perseverance to get through stuff that other people don't, and you break it down and you know how to do that. Whatever it is for you, write it down, maybe a situation where you have experienced that, and just take that in. And one suggestion is to look at that every day for a week. And if you have other things to add to that, because your mind is now being geared to open up to that, add that to the list because this is a lovely resource to look at it on those days when things are just a little more tough. And then I want to include the topic of making mistakes. Too often, Of course, we make mistakes. We're human. That's how we learn. This is a school of life, right? So when we make mistakes, the self-empowered actually make a point of learning from that. Okay, what did I learn from that? How did it make me stronger? Those are two questions you can always ask yourself. Instead of the negative inner critic coming in and just see that for what it is. That is just an old pattern that at present will really just take you off your course, off your game, off your connection with your true self. So recognize that and, you know, do not pay attention. Mistakes are valuable because they move us forward into our next stage. And what's important about mistakes is owning it. What part did I have in that? Trying to make amends, trying to speak to the other person. Of course, that doesn't guarantee that they will accept your apology. That is not in your control, but you'll feel good about making the effort. That's all we can do. And self-empowered people shake off any shame, that residue of shame that can take people down a shame spiral because that is not who they are. And they understand that. And I want you to understand that too. You do your best, do what you can, and then let it go because that does not define your future. That was something in the past. Self-empowered people see it for what it is and understand that they are not stuck in those moments. That's all about learning, and now it's time to move forward. Number 4, feeling off. We all do from time to time. Self-empowered people don't just, dwell or swim in that feeling. They feel what they feel, and then they try to understand it and take the steps to move forward. They get proactive. They dig in, they do the research, and then they take some steps, even just one step, to move things forward. Let's talk about something that a lot of us face, but don't often discuss. It's called menopause. Menopause for women, and actually there's something called andropause for men. And for everyone, there is this old layer of shame and what's wrong with me and why am I not feeling myself? And that shuts people down. What that does, it creates a barrier to getting the information. There is new information out there that is so helpful as a way to navigate through and different choices that we have to find our ways to coping with this very real life stage. This is not a disease. It is not something to be embarrassed about. It's a stage, and there are ways of coping. Let's talk about them now. And I just want to say that most people really don't know what to expect or how to handle the symptoms. We're not taught about that. But self-empowered people will research it, get into it, and then take action. And now I want to give you 5 ways that really can help. Number 1 is nutrition. As we were saying, our um, gut health, what we eat, what we take in, has a direct correlation to our mental states. So study what works for you, what gives you energy, what takes it away. That's number 1, nutrition. Number 2 is herbs. Nature has a chest of remedies waiting for us to discover. And certain cultures like Chinese or Ayurvedic disciplines actually point to ways of dealing with menopause. I myself tried Chinese medicine, acupuncture, and this foul-smelling tea full of herbs that helped me immensely. So we're not often taught about that, but I just wanted to share that that is a very viable option too. Number three is hormone therapy. And this works very, very well for some people. And of course, everyone's different. It's important to check with your doctor and look into it. But this is something that's coming to much greater attention as a very effective remedy. So very much worth looking into. Number four is exercise and strength training. We all know that exercise pumps up the endorphins, the feel good, you know, but strength training is really important for our muscles, for our bone health, also for mental health, that feeling of being strong, of being able to grow and become, our best selves. I am seeing stories of people in their 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, taking up strength training and surprising themselves with all the capacity that they can slowly build within themselves. And it's very, very encouraging, besides being exceedingly, besides being super important for our longevity and health and cognitive functions, all of the above. So that's something that's really worth giving a try if you haven't already. And number five is social support. Never underestimate the value of speaking with a friend, venting, hearing their solutions, offering yours. What is working? What books to read, which doctors are helpful and which you do not want to see. So there's a whole potential for an exchange of information, but we have to communicate. We have to talk. We have to bring out these subjects. And if you're around people that are too shy or carrying all this baggage, then you be the one to introduce it because it benefits everyone. Menopause and andropause are not diseases. This is not something to be ashamed about. On the contrary, it's something that we all need to bring into everyday conversation. And at the other side, or even during the process, it actually brings us closer to ourselves, how we're changing, and even that has to do with changing priorities. So let's normalize this conversation. Number five, empowered individuals have a unique way of connecting with others and actually uplifting them, sharing perspectives that they may not have thought about at all. And the wonderful thing is, they help us see the world through a new lens and show us that our perspective and our feelings really do matter. And who doesn't want to know that? They are straightforward with no time for games. Their words aren't just spoken, blah, blah. No, they are intentional and they actually can connect with people in a very deep and profound way. When they talk, they are authentic, they're real, they are not afraid to show vulnerability or some of the lessons that they have learned in life. Maybe not so pretty, but they help. And that is a very human way of connecting. And it also reveals the strength of the person who is not afraid to be vulnerable. And they carry the strength of their conviction as well, because, with life experience at a certain point, you know what you know. And here's something really important. Their presence alone reminds us that kindness isn't like a nice to have add-on. It's actually a superpower. And the thing is, kindness is contagious. So once you feel that dose of kindness, you're going to want to pass it on to others. And that it's just another layer to the feeling of being self-empowered. So this is like a really important chain that you can be part of and that you can share with others as well. They also know that things are not personal. Generally speaking, if somebody lashes out at them, they know that that person is having a bad day or dealing with some rough stuff. and they don't internalize it. They don't clog their thinking with what's wrong with me. No, they understand that, you know, they're having a tough time and they do not waste their energy taking it personally. There's a certain healthy detachment and they can move on to their own priorities and what is important and energizing in their own life. They don't get bogged down in somebody else's drama. And we all know people like that. So think of these qualities: the sharing of kindness, which empowers you and people, all the people around you, and that becomes like a chain. And also that healthy detachment, that if somebody else is in their whole drama, that you choose not to take that in, not to let that siphon all your energy, but, you know, perhaps say what you can say, plant a seed, and then move on with what are your priorities, your goals, and what actually gives you energy, because that's what we want to do, is have the most energy so we can feel our best, share that wonderful energy, and that creates the ripple. Also, self-empowered people do not try to control life. They know that life is a dance of change and evolution. And just like the seasons, when we adapt to winter with warmer clothes and summer with cooler clothes, they know that they can adapt to the changing and shifting tides of life, and don't spend so much time and energy trying to control what is, but rather move with it. And I want you to know that each twist, each turn, each shift, that we do not waste our energy trying to control. It actually brings us closer to who we are meant to be and to reconnecting with our own priorities. And those are the priorities that no one can tell you. You just know what's real for yourself. And remember, being empowered doesn't mean having all the answers. It means being at peace with the questions and also leaving some space to ask yourself new questions. There's something called the liminal state, and that's the in-between state from what you were to who you are becoming. And that state, you got to give yourself some space for reflection, um, for charting what's important to you, for letting go of what no longer serves you, and opening up, bit by bit with curiosity to what is calling you forward. So that's another reason why not to try to control life. Take the steps, research the good stuff that can help you, but, move with it. That will help enormously. And the great news is that we are all on this journey together. So I just want to tell you how much I appreciate you, connecting with right here with this message, with this time together. And do use some of these ideas as you go forward in the next week, in the next month. Let that plant a seed of positive change, because there is so much inside of you that is ready to emerge. And that self-empowerment is right there for you. And have fun with it. It's all opening up. Sending you so much love, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.